Welcome everybody down to the Matcave, and it is Way Back Wednesday, and tonight we are talking retro. Guys, thanks for joining me. We got some celebrations to do. We have guests. Let's dive into it for another Way Back Wednesday. So happy everybody can join tonight, guys. Tonight, I'm in such a great mood. I can't believe we're at where we are at. The channel has made it to 500 subscribers and beyond, thanks to this amazing community. And it's Wednesday night, so we got to get that nostalgia going, and we're going to be talking retro with some guests. Tonight, we've got some major topics we're going to cover. Some game franchises that are iconic across multiple platforms. We're also going to be talking about video game-based movies. And along the way tonight, to celebrate all of you, the Matcave community, we're not doing one. We're not doing two. We are doing 3 giveaways tonight. There will be 3 winners in the Matcave community. And let's bring in our guest to get this party started. You know him as Commander. Welcome, X-Wing. What's up, dude?
Reporting for duty, sir.
Oh, thank you, Sergeant Goofy.
Good to see you, buddy.
Always happy to see you, my friend. And joining us along here, I want to make sure I get his name correct. We don't want to trigger the man formerly known as the Nerdporial Lifeform. We have Metroid-Vania. What's up, dude?
How you doing? Yeah, today I identify as Metroid-Vania, and if you get this wrong, shame on you. You know that you're a bad person and you're toxic. I said my piece.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Awesome.
All right, let's get him out of here. Awesome, guys. I appreciate you guys coming by, man. It's definitely good to see you. This is a point in the life of my channel that I didn't think was actually going to get to. A pretty awesome milestone, and I figured, you know, what better night to celebrate it than on way back Wednesday. You know, this way we can talk some gaming and hang out with the whole crew out in the chat. And I see a ton of people here already. But I'm glad you guys can come by. We may have some other guests along the way in the night, but we're definitely going to cover a whole lot tonight. So like I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about multiple things. Some iconic game franchises that fans actually gave it its own genre. They basically took Metroid and Castlevania and created the video game genre Metroid-Vania. And this encompasses a set of games that have just been across multiple platforms, and the fan base is absolutely insane when it comes to these games. And actually, speaking of other people popping in along the way, and before we jump into the first main topic, I got somebody else to introduce, guys.
Uh-oh.
This man runs a channel known as the VacTube. And when you are at the VacTube,
Oh, God.
you have no idea what is going to happen. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I love this man. Please welcome Daryl the Derelict.
Howdy, fellers.
What's up, buddy?
Dude?
I brought
I
my
love
leg
that
lamp.
poster. I love that poster behind you.
Which
Mario one.
We got Mario.
Oh, yeah.
Mario one.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Forgot where I was. Mario. Yeah, I just got that the other day.
Oh, I
That
want
is
that.
awesome.
I'm jealous.
Oh my God,
Here,
I
let me
want that.
lower
That's
my-
like
Daryl,
the
we got to
original
behave
Black
ourselves
Box.
tonight.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. All of my least proud moments come from your channel.
I'm
Gotta be
forever
somewhere.
in your debt.
Oh my goodness. I'm
much
so
all of
glad you
mine
can
have
make
too.
it, dude. Having this group together is just freaking awesome. I just want to say a quick shout out to the chat here. I see Aussie Star Wars Nerd is here. Angry Canadian, welcome to the Matcave. Let's see, Ted's Nerd World is here. Alan Copeland, Dempsey, Drunken Poet, welcome to the Matcave. Who else
Dempsey
is
is
there?
awesome.
Nice. Nova Vaughn is here. Welcome, welcome. Solid Snake. Good to see you, sir. Always appreciate everybody
Metal
coming
Gear.
by. Metal Gear. Colonel, what the hell?
That was great.
We got Broba Fett is in the house. What's going on? Oh man, this is
Broba.
so awesome, dude. Guys, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. I got no script tonight. As you can see, I'm just kind of rambling on here, but we got our first main topic that we're going to talk about, and it is the Metroidvania genre. And I'll tell you, the first game that I dove into in that genre was the original Metroid on the NES. That game still haunts my dreams because it was one of the, and continues to be, one of the hardest games I ever played.
Yeah, you start off at 30 health. You start off at 30 health. No matter how many energy tanks you collect in the game, no matter how far you get in the game, you always start with 30 health. So you have to like farm right away, or you're dead.
Well, as a kid, you know, playing that game, we didn't know much back then about having to actually farm in the game and grind through. We tried to run and gun.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in a game like that. There was so much strategy. It was practically like running around a maze. And that's one of the common elements that's in these games across that genre, is that it's not really all that linear. You're running around a large map with multiple directions you can go in. And for the most part, you can go any way you want. And even back in the 8-bit era, having something like that, a game that large, that's pretty damn impressive. I mean, considering that was an NES game and how big that game was.
Yeah, they wanted to take the concept of Mario, the platforming concept of Mario, and mesh it with the concept of The Legend of Zelda, where you know, Legend of Zelda is an adventure game where focuses on exploration. Metroid does both. Metroid has the fun platforming elements. I was going to say elements of Mario with the adventure element of Zelda, and with some horror aspects of Alien, because Alien was a big influence on Metroid.
Yeah, the design of that game definitely had a feel of the original Alien film. It's very dark. It's creepy. Even the music in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The first game had a very, I mean, the Brinstar theme had a very upbeat theme. Bum, 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 da, 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 you know that. But then when you get to Kraid's Lair, and Dempsey here has done 2 remixes. He's done a remix of Kraid's Lair on my request, and he's also done a remix of I forget what's the name of that password. What's the name of that password in Metroid? That famous password where she appears as a woman. Is it Justin Bailey? Justin Bailey.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, so if you haven't, I'm gonna chill. I'm chilling right now. Subscribe to Dempsey Drunken Poet and listen to those 2 remixes that he did. They are sick.
Nice. I gotta check that out. It was definitely a complicated game, but it changed the way I played games. And we were talking backstage. I know X-Wing, you weren't really familiar with the games that much, but did you ever get your hands on either a Metroid game, Castlevania, any of?
So I've not played a single Castlevania ever, never.
Okay,
you're in for a treat, dude.
My first experience with Samus was in Super Smash Bros.
Same,
oh wow!
Same
on N64.
Yep,
Yeah, that was the first
here.
time I ever saw Samus. And then I want to say there was a game on the GameCube that was a Metroid game where you were like first person, but you were playing as Samus.
Yeah,
Metroid Prime.
Yep.
Metroid Prime. Yeah. So I played a couple levels on that, but I didn't play it through.
What's
So
funny is-
yeah, woefully uneducated. So I'm taking it all in right now.
What's funny is X-Wing and me have a very similar history because I never played a Metroid game when I was a kid. Like they were never marketed. Like you always saw Mario in the catalog for Toys R Us. You always saw Legend of Zelda, but you never saw Metroid. Like I was familiar with Metroid because of an old Metroid 2 Game Boy commercial. That's how I first heard of it. Then at the video store where I used to rent my video games from, I mean, Super Metroid was there, but it looked like a dinosaur game because Ridley looking like a red pterodactyl and on that box art, it looked like a dinosaur game. You barely see Samus. Like you didn't even notice that was Samus. I didn't know what that was, but like I thought it was a totally different type of game than it actually was. So I didn't really play it until Prime. I didn't even know Samus was called Samus until Super Smash Bros. I thought she was called Metroid. I thought Metroid was her name.
That's what I thought growing up for the longest time. When I first heard the name Samus, I was so confused. I think I initially learned it probably around the same time with Super Smash Brothers, the original Smash Brothers. But yeah, I thought it was. I didn't realize that Metroid was actually the bad guy. Like this was.
Yeah, the Metroid basically the alien. They're like the face hugger from Alien, but instead of grabbing your face and impregnating you, they just grab onto your head and they just suck your energy. And the only way to beat them is to shoot them with an ice beam and then hit them with a missile launcher.
Gotta behave.
Let it out, Daryl. I don't want you to.
No. I don't want to get you canceled.
How about you, Daryl? Do you have what's your memory of the Metroid games?
My first experience with Metroid was Super Metroid on the SNES. Okay. Saw it at the video store where I would go to rent my games, and I got Super R-Type, which I loved. And then I saw Super Metroid, and I was like, "Okay, I've never seen that. What is that?" And I flip it over and look on the back. I was like, "Ooh, space jellyfish." That's what it looked like. Yeah. I was going to be fighting space jellyfish. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. And dude, I could not complete it because I had no idea what I was doing, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was one of those games I kept going back to, and it took years before I actually finished it. I had to have been in my late teens, possibly early 20s, the first time I ever beat the original Metroid.
Oh, everything on the NES was super hard anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
dude, there's such a high degree of difficulty to those games. It's ridiculous. Like, it's really ridiculous.
If you ever tried playing like the original Castlevania or Ninja Gaiden is freaking impossible. And I think the developers put it in because back in the 80s or 90s when kids used to rent stuff, this was their way. I think this was their way of saying F you to people that just rented games instead of buying them because they make money off of buying them, not people renting them. You know.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat this in a weekend.
So
Yeah.
so what did they do? They made the final area so hard in Ninja Gaiden. So when you get to the boss and you fight the boss is there's 3 stages to this boss. If you die once, you are sent back 3 levels back, and you have to get through the extremely hard final area again.
Oh, that's cruel.
It is extremely cruel, and then the thing is, the respawn. If there's these birds that keep hitting you, and no matter how many times you beat them, they will keep respawning until you move, and you have to jump over several pits in order to do this. And if you get hit and you get knocked down, you're dead.
Yeah, I actually have, right as we speak, on my Nintendo Switch, a save state on Ninja Gaiden at the start of the final boss round.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it.
Just dreading picking it up.
Yeah, it's just like,
or are you Metroid dreading picking it up? Ooh,
yeah,
that was bad.
I love it. Metroid. Well, speaking of that, so with how popular these games are, and we'll jump into Castlevania in a moment, but Metroid is continuing to this day, and we had this.
I know, it's not great.
Metroid Dread come out, and it went back to the original style, because those Metroid Prime games, I have the trilogy. They re-released it on the original Wii.
Yeah,
and such a fun set of games. But like you guys mentioned before, it's first person, so very different style. And then Metroid Dread came out, going back to it looks like an amped up version of Super Metroid, which is incredible because Super Metroid still looks amazing to this day. I don't know what it is about Super Nintendo games and the way they handled the pixel art in that, but it's just gorgeous all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sprites have aged better, and this is pretty much across the board. Sprites have aged better than polygons.
Yes,
so better than N64, and I love Mario 64. I love Ocarina of Time, but the Super NES games, I mean, to me, the SNES is the GOAT.
Yeah,
it's always going to be N64 for me, man.
Oh, the N64, man.
I love some of the games, but the
just
SNES,
God tier.
Oh, you know, it is the N64 too, because I was a PlayStation kid, so I didn't have the N64 until I was an adult. But the PlayStation 1, the games on that did not age nearly as well as the N64 games.
Yeah.
Whether you put them onto a modern TV or throw it onto a tube TV, like I have sitting next to me here, which is where I primarily play them. But the N64 games still have this smooth, animated look to them, very colorful. It pops. Yeah. While the PlayStation 1 games tend to be dull and blurry. So it's
they focused really big on like character and then less on the textures, it seems like, whereas Nintendo kind of had it all the way around. So it may not have been as beautiful of a texture model for the character, but everything kind of melded together better, I feel like.
Yeah. I think if I know what he's doing right now, he's grabbing his copy of Metroid Prime on the Wii, which I actually have behind this green screen on the shelf. Thanks to my cousin, got me that years ago. That's one I got to pop back in at some point. I really like the original Wii, especially some of the games that they ported to it. They took a lot of the GameCube releases and moved it to there. Yep, that's the exact one I have. Yep.
Yeah, this was really hard to find.
Yeah, that's in the tin, right? It's the tin case. Yep.
Tin. Yep.
Oh, so good. So good.
This is probably the GOAT for GameCube games, in my opinion. The first Prime.
Yeah, that game handled so well on the GameCube. The GameCube was such a powerful console. I don't think a lot of people realize what that thing was capable of.
Underrated.
And, honestly, I don't think Nintendo ever truly pushed it to its limits. Think about the Resident Evil remake that landed on the GameCube and Resident Evil 0. Those games and Resident Evil 4, phenomenal games, and they're absolutely stunning to look at. And this was on the GameCube. So when you get things ported then to the next generation, the Wii in this case, and then onward and upward, they're going to definitely keep looking good, but they look good to begin with. And then you take a franchise like Metroid and start putting out sequels, whether it's in first person or go back to its roots and have it into the 2D, like kind of maze scrolling and everything. That those continue to look amazing. And in the realm of games that are practically a giant maze that you're running through, Castlevania was one of those games that as you got through each sequel, they got harder because the maps got bigger.
Matcave, I'm going to stop you there. Castlevania, I'm going to step out. I'm going to step out for a little bit. Coach wanted me to say hi. I'm going to go say hi to Coach, and then I'll be back, okay?
Go for it, dude. Do your thing, man.
I'll be back.
Yep.
I'll be back.
Castlevania, the original is one of my favorite games. I always go back to that game. I play it very often. But by the time you got to Symphony of the Night on the PS1, that game is ridiculous. And I mean that in a good way. Because not only can you beat the game 100% with the castle upright, but you could beat that game to 200% with the castle flipped.
That's how I played it, and I just beat it because I didn't know any better. I just killed what was his name? Not Trevor. Richter.
Mm-hmm.
I killed Richter, and I was like, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden the game just ended. I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Where's Dracula? Where's Death? Death takes away all your abilities in the beginning of the game. So I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I was not a kid. I was already, past graduating college. Had a PlayStation for the first time, started playing it. Luckily, I had this thing called the internet, and I looked up what I did wrong, and I was able to get some answers. If I was a kid and I played that, I don't know what I would have done without the resources to know about all the items you need to get in order to beat Richter the right way.
Yes, that game. And actually, speaking of death in that game, I've seen this done before, and I don't know exactly how it was done. I don't know if this was a hack. I don't know if this was a mod, or if it's just a glitch you can take advantage of in the game. But I've seen people bypass death and keep the stuff you start with, and then go through the game.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure somehow somebody made that happen. I don't know how.
Yeah,
I'd have to look into that myself. I don't know.
It was definitely amazing to see them bypass that bridge and keep everything. I'm like, how the heck did they do that? I gotta look into it one day and try it.
That's another interesting trope of Metroidvanias that we should discuss. We start off, either as Alucard, or we start off as Samus, and let's just say they start off with their normal abilities. What happens usually? Well, usually they lose their abilities along the way in the beginning of the game. In Metroid Prime, she gets hit by like some EMP pulse and she loses her abilities.
Yep.
And same thing with Alucard in this game. In this case, Death robs him of his sword, his shield, and I don't know if he had any abilities, but he was robbed of his like equipment or something. So something similar.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of the way of just making you grind through the game and level up and earn your way through, because you start off really powerful at the very opening of that game. Boba Fett says, anyone play Symphony of the Night's spiritual successor, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night? I have not. That game had some of the most complex quests I've ever seen. Wow.
Yeah, it's made by Iga, who made Symphony of the Night. He left Capcom a long time ago, and he, at the same time that they were kickstarting Shenmue 3 back in 2017, I believe, they were kickstarting his project, which was Bloodstained, which was basically it's like Castlevania, but without. It's basically Castlevania in all but name. Obviously, there's a different mythology. It's more anime-ish, I think. But it's got great voice acting. You have David Hayter. Solid Snake plays one of the characters. Usually, I think he plays the badass. Usually plays the badass character, the badass mercenary character, and it's the same type of thing. 2D. It's 2.5D. Side scrolling, platforming. Metroidvania. I'll say.
Yeah. Oh,
You
absolutely.
find abilities, and you have to figure out where these abilities are, and like you could fly, or you can go up, you can go fly, you can go this way, you can go that way. I think you could even go through walls at some point. Don't quote me on that. But it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. So many things to discover. I just love discovering like the map and everything.
Mhm.
And I just love finding upgrades. Finding upgrades makes you feel like you're accomplishing something throughout the game. You feel
Yes.
that thing of progression. And I know I'm in the minority, but that's the thing I did not like about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's because even though you did get heart containers every single time in all 120 shrines, same end result. It did not feel like I was progressing. I just felt like I was meandering, getting this and meandering, getting that. But this is just my opinion.
Oh, no, I definitely understand. I mean, I really love the Breath of the Wild game, but I completely get what you're saying with that, because there was a different feel to that with the kind of the reward feeling of getting these things. It wasn't like prior entries in the Zelda franchise. These games, whether it's Metroid or Castlevania, as you're finding items, as you're unlocking doorways, as you're getting an ability, you feel a sense of accomplishment, and you actually feel that your character is stronger and that you're ready and prepared now to move on to the next area, which is why you spend a lot of time in these games grinding it through and backtracking and checking every nook and cranny of that castle or the alien ship, whatever it may be, because you know that the result is going to be worth it. And I get it when, some people don't want to deal with games where you really have to grind through. I totally get it. They're time consuming. It can get very repetitive. But personally, I'm one of those gamers that when I start a game, I'm looking in every corner. I'm exploring every little space because I might find something. Even if you're not even meant to, it's like, I might find something along the way. But I've always loved that style of games. And I think we just lost Metroid-Vania. You still there, dude? He froze. Oh no, we lost him. That's okay. I'll fly solo for a little bit. Hopefully we get his connection back in there. But yeah, it looks like he just popped out. So we'll see. He's got the link, and we'll get him back in here as soon as he's able to. So Castlevania is a series of games that also made the jump into the 3D graphics and future consoles. There is an infamous Castlevania game on the Nintendo 64 that is vastly hated by the majority of gamers, mostly because the game overall feels broken. I've only played a little bit of that game myself. There he is.
Yeah, stupid internet.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Sorry.
I gotcha. When you popped out, I was segueing into how Castlevania made its way into future consoles as well and made the leap into 3D the way Metroid did. But Castlevania did not have as great of a jump as Metroid did. Metroid Prime being that trilogy, bringing a great set of games. When Castlevania, for example, jumped to the N64, the game felt broken. And a lot of people really did not like that version of it.
So that was a completely original game, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be a remake or a retelling of any of the prior entries. But Boba Fett brings up a very good point, because they weren't all failures in the world of 3D gaming for Castlevania. Lords of Shadow was a great game. I never
did
played
play
its
that one.
sequel, but I did play the first one. Originally on the PS3, I played it, and then I have a PC port of it. That game was really well done. Great voice acting in it, great storytelling, and I love the hack and slash style to it. I think it worked really well. And when the Castlevania anime series came out on Netflix, one of the first things it reminded me of was Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, it reminded me of God of War quite a bit. I played that one. I think that's the one where I think you're playing as I forget what his name is. It's supposed to be like it was supposed to be like a reboot.
Yes.
He plays Gabriel Belmont, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he's supposed to be. So they did in this. So in this series, Dracula is actually a Belmont. So his family hates him, and that's why they take a whip and they try to kill him every 100. I think it's every 100 years or something. I forget the lore behind Dracula and the castle appearing in Transylvania.
Yeah. Oh, somebody left the door open.
Hide your kids.
Like, hey, come over and say what's up. So I hopped over there, and then I sat in the backstage for like 15 minutes as he's opening all these Star Wars gifts. I'm like, I'm out of here, dude.
Well, if you need to pop back over there, by all means. It's all good. We were just talking about the jump of Castlevania from the 2D games to 3D games and how they had some hits and some misses.
Actually, his favorite series of all
are
time.
there now?
Millions.
Oh, there's a lot of Castlevania games.
Yeah.
How many? There's like, isn't there like 10 Game Boy games and like
There's so many Castlevania games.
3 NES, 1 SNES, 1 Turbo?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is, one game in the series that has definitely gained some infamousy and was also made very, very famous amongst next generation gamers thanks to the angry video game nerd, and that was Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
Oh yeah, I never played that one. But I know all about it because of him. Like I know, like you get stuck at a certain point, and there's no way to get past it. There's no way to know to get past it unless you cheat.
Yes, and that was a game I rented. So I spent a weekend with Simon's Quest as a kid when this game was new, and went through the instruction manual and went through everything I could find about it. Now, we didn't have things like the internet.
Google.
All you had was word of mouth, or maybe if your friends played it, or if you were lucky, you had a friend that had a subscription to Nintendo Power, or if you were even luckier, you had a subscription to Nintendo Power. I did not have a subscription. And you literally, in that game, you get to a dead end. An actual dead end. A wall. And there is no place else to go. And that was where my adventure ended. And it wasn't until years later that I found out you had to do something ridiculous, like you stand on a certain pixel in that area and you kneel down for however long, and then a magic tornado takes you away to the next area.
What?
A magic tornado, just like something out of the original Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Do 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 do.
Yep.
There you go.
Exactly.
Mario 3 did that too. They had to use the same whistle. They used the same whistle in Mario 3 to go to warp to another world.
Yep. Oh yeah, that was man, that game broke me. I'm not gonna lie, because I had a couple of bucks. I was a little kid, I save up, my quarters, my dimes, and everything, and then beg my parents, can we go to the video store? Can we go? I want to rent the game, and then you go and you pick it because you're excited, and all you have is the cover art to go by.
Yeah.
It just, and it looked awesome. It looked awesome. But Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, almost stopped me from playing more Castlevania games. Luckily, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, was back to its roots and was a great game. And then they just kept getting better along the way.
Now, Castlevania 2, would you consider that one Metroid-Vania?
A little bit, but it's more like a Zelda game. It's more, what it's more like? It's more like Zelda 2 Link's Adventure. That's what it plays like, because you're talking to the townspeople and you're collecting items as you go there, but very different from the...
So is there like an overworld, just like in Zelda 2, where you play as little Simon Belmont going to a town?
Not really. You're really just in the same type of sprites and everything throughout, but you go into towns and then you go into castles and dungeons and stuff and fight the enemies, but you have to talk to like every character and figure out what you need to do. But that's what these style games were. The Metroidvania games were complicated. It took a lot of thought. It took a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it took more than one player to get through it because you needed help from your friends in these games.
Did you play the Game Boy Advance ones? like Circle of the Moon or Harmony of Dissonance or Aria of Sorrow, I
Game Boy
believe.
Advance.
Yeah, I have one of them. I have no idea which one it is. So I played one of it was. I feel like it was. Oh no, I have one on the DS. I don't have the Game Boy, or maybe it was a port of the Game Boy Advance.
That must be Dawn of Sorrow.
Mm.
Dawn of Sorrow. There was a few more that came out for DS.
Yeah, because these were Metroidvania games were very popular on handheld systems, especially Metroid and Castlevania specifically.
Yeah.
A lot of handheld ports for games like this. And the nice thing was they were still, games you can grind through, but in classic handheld fashion, they were generally shorter games. They were shorter experiences. So you could, get through it on the go. But man, Metroidvania is a genre that I think is never going away. We have newer games these days, games like Hollow Knight and stuff like that. That
Have you
are
played
in
it?
that vein. Yeah.
That game is tough.
Yeah, it's
a cute game. You play as a bug and you're trying to. I forget. I don't even remember what the objective is, but it's a beautifully designed game. I get a little bit of some Studio Ghibli vibes from it. Just love the atmosphere. The animation is beautiful. The art design is beautiful. Cell shaded. Yeah. If you want a challenging Metroidvania, Hollow Knight is the one to check out, and that's on. I think it's on Switch. You can download it on Switch, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, I think I have it on the PlayStation or PS4. I have that one on there, but definitely a genre, iconic genre that was going to last way longer than we do in this world. It's a gaming genre that is definitely not going anywhere.
Do you remember the Metroid Dread controversy? Like people saying because people have claimed that Metroid Dread and Metroidvanias are an outdated genre of video gaming that is not truly worth the full price of a video game.
I didn't hear that, but I heard about people already, like when it first came out, hacking it and making ROMs of it. When it was
there was this controversy shortly before that game came out that was the case. And it's Twitter. It's Twitter. That's all that needs to truly be said. But I think that's stupid because Metroid Dread is probably my number 2 Switch game after Mario Odyssey.
Oh wow.
So so the game does truly live up to a normal AAA release in my opinion.
I agree. I think it's great. All right, gentlemen. Before we jump to our next topic, it's time for giveaway round 1.
Round 1.
Round 1.
Round 1.
I didn't make a cutscene for this, so we're just gonna be here while we talk about it.
Fucking noob.
I know,
make a
right?
cutscene?
I need to make cutscenes.
So I'm gonna try to be fancy here, everybody, because it's been a hot minute since I've used StreamYard, and I want to give everybody a chance here. So I've been trying to get this working like the folks over at StreamYard and be all fancy with it. So I'm gonna set this up here real quick, and I'll explain what we need to do here to get this going. But we are going to have a keyword that everyone is going to put into the chat if you want a chance at winning here. And that keyword is going to be retro, exactly as you see it on the screen. All caps, retro. If you want a chance at winning one of the games of your choice that I'm going to list in just a moment, put that into the chat. Retro, all capital letters. And while you guys do that, we're going to go over what you can win. So we've got 3 games on the table here. And if I can do this correctly, I'm going to bring up the games. Come on, baby. I got it. Here we go. Okay. One of the games, because the winners of the giveaway get their choice. There are 3 games to choose from. One is the Atari 50th Anniversary Celebration Collection. It is a wonderful collection of not just Atari 2600 games, but it's got 5200, 7800. It's got Jaguar games on there, and it has arcade games. It is an awesome collection that's available on multiple systems, including PC. The next option you guys have, if you win the giveaway, is Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. Now, here's the
Nice.
catch with this one. I can't gift PC versions of this, only the console versions. Epic is really weird about that, and I can't do gifts, so I'm very sorry, PC gamers, but this will be console exclusive
Do better.
for the giveaway, but it is still a fantastic, fantastic game. And the final choice in the lineup is Sonic Origins, which is also available across all platforms, including PC.
Schnoiz.
I hope they cleaned up the bugs. That
whatever
was the
update
case
they
when
did,
it came out.
I've been enjoying this game immensely. I think it's a great collection, and I think having a story mode that they added to it was incredible. So
I love the cutscenes. I love those
Yeah.
cutscenes they added.
I am having a blast with that. So it's definitely a really fun collection, and I'm really psyched for someone to be able to get their hands on any of these games, because I have all of them and I absolutely love them, and they're really, really cool. So let me bring the other screen back up here. Come on, Matcave, don't boomer it. Giveaway tool, share. There we go. Okay. All right, everybody. We've got 11 entries in here. Oh, how about I actually add it to the stream? We've got 11 entries in here. We've got 14 people in the stream right now. All right, guys. We're
Built-in giveaway tool in StreamYard.
You go to a separate tab and go to
Uh-huh.
streamyard.com/giveaway and then add it to your stream.
I know that.
You put a
Dude,
keyword
I've
in
used-
here.
I've always used the carousel. The
Yep.
Wheel of Fortune carousel.
I thought about doing that, and I realized I was like, wait a minute. StreamYard has their own, and I've seen it go, and it's
Huh.
awesome. So I was like, I want to
Hmm.
try this.
Thanks for
something new
bringing
every
this. This may bring some future streams for me now.
Nice.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We're going to roll this thing and see who is the first winner in giveaway round one.
Drum
We're
roll.
going to roll it in 3, 2, 1. Oh, oh, oh.
Drum roll.
oh. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Oh!
Oh, the winner is Alan
Alan Copeland.
Rigged.
Alan Copeland, congratulations, good sir. The mod of all mods for the Matcave community. Dude, congrats. Hit me up in Discord. Let me know which game you want and which platform.
I totally thought that was gonna land on me.
Wasn't
It
that so
stalled for a
close?
second. I'm like, "Ugh,
Isn't that fun?
I want that Atari collection.
I love that. Congrats, Alan. That is so awesome, dude.
What-
That's so cool.
What's in the Atari collection? Please tell me. Please
Oh
tell
my
me
goodness.
ET is in that collection.
It's
if
not.
ET is in
not-
that collection, then I can't buy it. Then if
It
it's
is-
not in that collection.
ET is not in there. There's a few games missing due to some copyright things and things like that. Like
Yeah.
Space Invaders isn't in there, but you can get
Really?
classes like Breakout and Asteroids, Missile Command, Centipede, Millipede,
Galaga.
tanks, there's tons of games in there. And the really cool thing about that collection is that it's not just a collection of games. There's built-in documentaries and history to go through. So they break it out like almost like in a tree, and you work your way over the years
That's
through
cool.
Atari history. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's very cool. It looks like Alan's already calling for Atari for the PC, dude.
Damn it, Alan!
Message me in Discord, and then we're gonna work that all out. We'll get the copy to you, because that's something I can actually gift via Steam, which is very easy to do, and it's awesome. So
Do they have it on the
congrats,
Switch?
Alan.
Can you buy it on
yeah.
the Switch?
I think that's on everything. Let me just verify, because that was one of the reasons why I chose it. It is on PS5, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, the PC,
Nice.
Xbox Series X, and Series S.
I'm running out of stuff to play on the Switch, dude. I've worked my way through like the entire N64 library, all the games you could download.
Mm.
I'm out of stuff.
Oh yeah, there's so much to play. But yeah, this Atari collection is very, very cool. All right, awesome. I'm so glad that worked. I was like kind of really nervous. I was like, I hope this thing actually works the way the other guys do it, the professionals. That's awesome. All right, guys, we are going to jump over to another iconic gaming franchise that I absolutely love, and it is Mega Man. This game, oh boy, I don't know if X-Wing has history with it or he's just giggly about the way I say Mega Man. I don't know. I can never tell.
It's adorable.
What do you think of the Robot Master that I identify as now?
Oh, Boreal Man. You planned more ahead than I did.
I did not. I did not. But now that I'm a Robot Master, you gotta go.
That's insane. Oh, I got it.
It's the robot. It's the Robot Master thing.
I love it. Oh my god. Okay, I had the wheel spinning again on the side. I was like, "Stop! What are you doing?" All right, Mega Man, brought to us by Capcom. Capcom is one of my favorite developers of all time. Now, say what you will about Capcom over the years, they've definitely had their ups and their major downs. But still, they remain one of my favorite developers of all time. They've brought some of my favorite gaming franchise of all time, including Resident Evil, my favorite game series of all time. But Mega Man is a series that, again, defined a genre and continued to make gaming history throughout every entry to that franchise. The original Mega Man on the NES was, again, one of the hardest games I ever played. I think Capcom realized that for a lot of people. So when you got to Mega Man 2, still a difficult game, but nowhere near as hard as the original.
Yeah, the developers really wanted. They begged Capcom to let them work on it because they really wanted to improve what they did in the first one.
Yeah,
and it shows. It shows the improvement really does show in that one.
I mean, Mega Man's a series where each one that you play, I feel like everyone finds their own order that they play the game in, because you pick which level you're going to go.
Okay, I'm bowing out again. I know nothing about Mega Man. Why did you invite me to Way Back Wednesday?
It's about a blue robot kid that just goes through a level, shoots things.
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah,
beats bosses. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
and he
jumps. You saw him in Star Wars Visions.
And then when he dies, he goes pew 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 pew.
Why you gotta bring that up, Matcave? Come on, man.
You know we had to have you on screen. You're Stash Rendar, dude. How can we not have you on
Stash Rendar?
All right, I'm gonna stay in the chat. I'm gonna watch. When it gets back to something I know anything about, I'm gonna come back in and hang out with you guys.
The door is open.
Okay.
Oh man. So let me ask you.
I got all this room now.
Oh yes, everybody's spread out. Jeez, that guy was taking up so much with his mustache.
Yeah, that mustache just like that I couldn't pay attention to anything else.
They the Mega Man series was definitely one that I owned multiple Mega Man games, and then at the same time had multiple rentals of a lot of the sequels. Let me just send a link out here real quick. But where did you start with your Mega Man journey?
Believe it or not, I started with Mega Man X. So I'm sure you all know. I saw the first ever box I ever saw of Mega Man was Mega Man 2 on NES, and it looked like a cop game where he had a pistol and he was shooting like other bad guys. It didn't like the Mega Man box work was terrible. So terrible, it is iconic. That's how funny this is. Like, it's like there was no communication between Capcom USA or whoever they hired to do the artwork, the box art, and Japan, because if you look at the Famicom box art compared to the NES box art, it's like two different worlds. It's like two different worlds. So I didn't know what it was, and plus my video store did not have all the games. So I was like, I'm not going to play Mega Man 2 unless I play the first Mega Man. But then I saw Mega Man X. I saw the box art for Mega Man X. Like, whoa, this game looks pretty cool. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to rent this. And I rented it, and I liked it. So Mega Man X was my first Mega Man game.
Nice.
And so it was like it was weird. You get to choose the levels that you go into. It's not like, order by order like in Mario.
Mhm.
Like you can do any robot level in any order. And I mean, the thing is, which one is easy enough for you to beat just with the Buster? Have you ever tried to beat all the Robot Masters with just your Buster weapon? Your standard Buster weapon?
So many times that I've made that my own little mission. It's like, I'm not going to use any special weapons. I'm just going to go in with the Mega Buster and see, what I can do with that. And let me just take a quick moment here. We got one more guest we're going to bring in here. If you guys like Star Wars, if you like the Sith, if you like coffee, let me introduce you to Coffee on Korriban.
Hello there.
Good sir. Hello there.
Are you able to hear me at all?
Yes,
we can hear you.
All right. My studio is currently torn down for Christmas, so I'm just hiding in a closet on my phone.
Fair enough. Well, I'm happy to have you, my friend.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to join just for a little bit and just say congratulations on 500. We knew it was coming for a while. It's it's a lot of work. YouTube is a lot of work if you're trying to grow and start from scratch. And I'm trying not to devalue my words when I say that you're one of the most underrated channels I've ever seen on YouTube. Just the amount of consistent quality you put out is amazing. I wish you had 10 times as many, if not more, subscribers, but I know you'll get there someday. So just keep it up.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Dude, I have so much fun doing this, and it's honestly because of guys like you guys and the community here and all the people I've met through doing this. It's just so much fun. And I don't get me wrong, I would love to have the channel grow even more and monetize and things like that. I would love to get there. But honestly, I have a blast doing this, and that's the biggest reason why. I just have so much fun hanging out with everybody and being able to share some gaming stuff with all you guys, and really, it's all about having a good time. So I appreciate all of you. Every single person that ever swings by, has ever hit that subscribe button, the like button, who's even just said hi in the chat. I love every single person in this community, but I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and it's totally humbling when you find people that are interested in the stuff that you make. Because, I mean, we make all these videos just for fun because we enjoy talking about whatever it is that the subject of the video is. And just the fact that people stop by and care, let alone return as, community members, is just astonishing. And I'm glad to be a part of your community. I'm very happy to have you a part of mine. And it's just, it's just a fun time.
Absolutely, man.
Totally agree.
Dude, while we have you, man, do you got any memories and history with the Mega Man franchise?
Absolutely zero. I don't know. I maybe have played a game at some point. Maybe have seen some show on in the background or anything, but I don't even know what Mega Man is.
I'm guessing this was probably before your time. I mean, really, Mega Man started to fizzle out in the late 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mega Man, I was into VeggieTales at that time. So
there you go. Yeah. They probably had a video game or two, I would imagine.
Probably.
Mega Man is one of those game franchises that made me the gamer that I am. It's one of those games that actually made an Easter egg appearance in the Resident Evil 3 remake most recently, where you find because Capcom made the Resident Evil series, so there's a store you can go into, a little toy store that you can break into, and inside is a display full of Mega Man figures and a big box art thing, stand up cutout, all there, all the cool stuff to look at. The catch is it's that cover art design of Mega Man. He looks ridiculous like he did on the cover. He doesn't look like Mega Man in the game.
Wily doesn't look like Wily. They make Wily look like freaking Shredder from Ninja Turtles. Like it's so crazy. And you know what? Fans find it endearing anyways. Because nowadays they do. And dude, 9 and 10, Mega Man 9 and 10, which came out in late 2000s, is like, a bit of a like a revival of the classic series. They did the same thing. They made that crappy 9 and 10. They made that crappy box art. They recreated crappy box art, but with different designs and all that. So, but yeah, did you ever see the Mega Man cartoon in the 90s, Matcave?
Yeah.
All right, so I played Mega Man X, and then after that, I didn't play it for a while. But then I saw the Mega Man cartoon, and I saw the Mega Man cartoon before I played any of the classic games. So so this was Super NES era. This was the mid 90s. I managed to get a copy. So the second Mega Man game I've ever played, and the first in the classic series, was Mega Man 7 on Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but I loved that game. And I actually played on my channel. I played that game in a single stream. Played that and Mega Man X in a single stream. Like, those two are super duper nostalgic for me. I didn't play the earlier games, the NES games, until the Mega Man Anniversary Collection came out, because finding the cartridges for the first Mega Man and Mega Man 2 was pretty tough. I was able to find a cartridge for Mega Man 3. So when I was a senior in high school, early 2000s, I managed to buy like another NES, because my old NES was completely gone at that point. I mean, I was sick of the, you remember when you put on the Nintendo, and it'd blink white, blink white, blink white, blink white, blink. That was like the worst case. Like, if you just turned on, it was just white screen. That means you were close to getting it to work. Yeah. So every time you wanted to put on an NES game, it was like a gamble. Like, if you could put it in without having to, for me, I either had to blow the cartridge, or I had to. What my dad used to do to help me would be he would push down on the cartridge in the console, and would just wiggle it, and it would work. Like, it would wiggle it, put it back into place, and it would work. So I used to do a combination of both of those things.
So speaking of that, the other day, and this was a huge missed opportunity, because I probably should have made a video about it. I revived my Nintendo, and the thing is running like new, because I replaced the 72-pin connector on the internal section of the Nintendo. This is the piece that the cartridge slides into.
Yeah.
Inside that drawer. I replaced it. I found a replacement for $12.
$12. So
my original Nintendo is running like new.
Wow.
So
it's that component that is pretty much the main reason.
Yep. This piece right here, it will either get very dirty, which sometimes just cleaning it will solve the problem. I did. It didn't solve the problem. A lot of times the pins will get bent or a little out of position, and that can cause a whole bunch of problems. So I was constantly getting vertical lines on my NES games. I was like, all right, well, it's either dirty or it's not. So I tried it, and then realized how cheap it was to get this thing, swapped it out, and the thing is like new. It's like it's 1985 again.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the 80s, you know what I bought recently? That I feel this video game gets very little, like Mega Man series. I feel this game gets very little love right here. Do you see? You see my Mario 2 little thing I bought? I bought that at a convention last summer.
Nice.
I saw that. I'm like, Mario 2 gets no love whatsoever. Like they snubbed it in both Super Mario Maker games. And I mean, what's wrong with picking up a vegetable and throwing it at a bad guy? I mean, bad guys don't like vegetables because
what's crazy about that is that Mario 2, a lot of its characters and features and the whole thing with the vegetables and stuff, that was highly represented in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yep, that's right. The music, the only thing that wasn't in it was Wart, the frog. Yes. The villain was Wart in that game instead of Bowser or Koopa. They never used Bowser. One thing I've noticed is that they never used the name Bowser in the Super Show. They've only called him King Koopa.
Yeah.
Which Koopa is actually his Japanese. That's all they call him in Japan. They never Bowser, I think, is his American name. What's funny is the guy running Nintendo of America, his name is Doug Bowser. And so because Nintendo made that little joke in one of their Nintendo Directs. They're like Bowser, and then Bowser's like they show a CGI Bowser like me. And then you see Doug Bowser come out. I was like, no, go away.
Well, even along those lines, Mega Man, he's called Mega Man in North America, but in Japan, he's Rockman.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what's funny is I've asked people like, what do you
Rockman,
prefer?
not even Rocket Man.
Yeah,
No.
this is Rockman. Yeah.
Rockman, like
Cool.
rock and roll. His name is Rock. He's a boy named Rock, and his sister's name is Roll. And his
Yep.
older brother, Proto Man in the United States, his name is Blues in Japan.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this is Mega Man is a franchise that has come a long way. It stayed in the 2D 8-bit era for a long time. There was six NES games in the 8-bit era, and then it made the jump to 16-bit on the Super Nintendo, where you had the Mega Man X series, which brought in all kinds of new characters. The animation sprites were just
beautiful.
gorgeous. So much,
Totally great.
yeah, it just, that's one of those games that again aged very, very well. Hello there, Arlena.
How are you? I wish they would have retained the Super Nintendo look for the 9 and 10, but I know they wanted to go back to. They literally wanted to remake 2 because 2 is considered the best Mega Man game.
2 is still to this day my favorite Mega Man game. I go back to that all the time. And I was so happy when 9 and 10 came out and went back to that 8-bit style. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I can't believe I'm playing a brand new Mega Man game that looks like the NES.
Yeah, and they got rid of this. And the thing is, they went back to like his abilities from 2, so he can't slide anymore, and he can't do the power beam like like Samus. He can't do the the charge beam.
Yeah.
So you had to be careful. You had to be good. You had to be like Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2 good.
Yep. But this was another game, very similar to the Metroid and Castlevania games in the sense that it was about leveling up your character by getting items or power-ups. And the trick with Mega Man was each time you defeat the main enemy, you gain their ability. And the cool thing was, if you figure out which other enemy had that weapon as a weakness, you could take out the next bosses. So that's why everybody played these games in a different order. And we were talking about before, just running through using just your normal weapon, which is completely doable. It's 100% doable. It just makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, it makes it, and it gives you way more bragging rights. I've tried to do it online. Try to play Buster, and I've been humbled too many times. Especially first Mega Man. Tried it.
Yep. And then this is another thing too. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have ways of looking this stuff up. It was trial and error. So it was like, okay, I gained, Metal Man's power. It's like, well, now I'm gonna guess which boss has that weakness. And then you try, because you know right away you'll fire off this weapon, and if it's not their weakness, it's gonna either bounce off of them or do little to no damage.
Yeah, Mega Man 2. I mean, first boss, Metal Man. No brainer. Yeah, and I think Metal Man could take everybody out. I think
his was definitely the most powerful. I usually took on Bubble Man and Airman first just to get them out of their way, because I like their levels. They're fun, but they're quick. And it's such a crazy experience choosing your path. Yeah, it definitely gets crazy. And it looks like we lost Coffee on Korriban. I know he was on his cell phone, so we might have lost some signal there, but no worries.
Yeah, Mega Man X, I know Boba Fett said the obvious one to go to was Chill Penguin. That is not my case. I always start with Flaming Mammoth. I can beat Flaming Mammoth with just the Buster. He's not too tough if you get his motions down proper. All he does is jump, knock you over because he's big. He knocks you down if he lands and you're standing, and he shoots fire at you. And you gotta watch out for the oil. He puts oil on the conveyor because you're on a conveyor and everything. So, but then when you take on Chill Penguin, every time I burn him, I feel bad. Like, even though he's a robot master and you're supposed to beat him, you see the animation of him being burned, and wow, it is brutal. That's brutal.
Crazy. And I remember still one of my favorite iterations of Mega Man was in Captain N, the Game Master, in that cartoon,
yeah.
Mega Man, where he had that raspy voice.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
I didn't even know that was Mega Man for the longest time.
The longest time. It's so weird because there was definitely some rights and issues and things like that when it came to that show. So that show was running on thin ice with what characters they were using.
The only episode I remember from Captain N, I know I was on stream with you when you talked about this. The only episode I remember was the one where Link makes an appearance, and they take on Horsehead from the first palace in Adventure of Link, and Mother Brain is trying to revive Ganon, and of course it's like a monster version of, you know, his of the Legend of Zelda the Legend of Zelda cartoon Ganon. So same design. I think it was done by the same people. The animation was done by the same people.
Yeah, it was definitely it was Deke. Yep. Definitely a cool era to live in with, you know, where we're getting these video games that we're playing, and then we have cartoons that we get to watch with these characters. There's not much like that now, except for a few standout characters. Like now we get Sonic cartoons, and we have a brand new one actually just started, Sonic Prime on Netflix, which is actually really good, by the way.
Excuse me. I've only seen Sad AM, which is just Sonic the Hedgehog, the one that came out in '93. Well, they had, excuse me, they had an Adventure Sonic Hedgehog, which was the more wackadoodle. You know, Robotnik is literally Robotnik. Like he gets, he's like the heel. There was a good 3-part. There was like a good 3 or 4 part where they're dealing with time travel and everything. But Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, Sad AM, the one where you know he's the fastest thing alive. That was a great show, and it's a shame that it got canceled. I mean, it had a decent ending with the Doomsday weapon that Robotnik is building, but it ends on a cliffhanger because they introduced in an earlier episode a wizard who was stuck in this nether pit with Sonic's uncle, and he's supposed to come back and be the main villain in the third season. And whereas, you know, he would be like the Cobra Commander to Robotnik would be like his Destro, would be his lackey until, of course, Robotnik would somehow betray him and send him back to the void or to the other dimension or something. Yeah. At least that's and of course the guy that was writing the show, he passed away a while ago, but he talked about that, like he's confirmed that was the case. But yeah, I loved the Sonic the Hedgehog, the old Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. I still have to see Sonic Underground, and I've still not watched all of Sonic X.
Those are pretty fun shows actually, and you can still catch them on a few different streaming platforms.
I never knew Sonic Underground existed. The one where he's in a rock band, like I never heard of that one.
It's got a bit of a grittier look to it and everything, but it's pretty fun.
And also Jaleel White too.
Coffee on Korriban, while we got you. I know you weren't familiar with the Mega Man franchise, but I'm curious, as far as any games that you grew up with, where did your journey begin? What was your like go-to game?
So as a little kid, I think I had, what was it? Maybe a Nintendo 64, I think, with just a couple games, like a Mario game and I don't know, something else. So that was kind of my. I don't even think I played any Star Wars, like to
Rogue
begin
Squadron?
with. But well, the first console I ever had that was like my console was the PS2, and so my favorite game originally was Jak and Daxter.
Oh, nice!
And then, I still love that game. I want to play that, play that again sometime. But it was that. Couple of racing games, James Bond, Nightfire was also a really awesome game, and then the Lego Star Wars games were huge.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I definitely missed out on an era of what came just before the PS2, because I feel like a lot of the characters you guys are talking about, I know of them, I know bits and pieces of them, but I never like experienced them in my childhood. It's almost like old classic rock, or like, you know, Rush, Black Sabbath, like all these bands that I know exist, but I've never, as a musician, taken the time to experience them. But that's kind of how it feels. Like I know kind of what you guys are talking about, but it's definitely, I think I was born just a little too late.
The good thing though now is that a lot of these games are making their way into collections. There was a Mega Man Anniversary collection that came out multiple times. I first had it on the GameCube.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
Yeah, and now I have it on the PS4 and 5 and all that.
I bought it on my Switch, and I have a I have a Steam version. So Capcom just knows how to get money from me.
Capcom, I think they're the kings of re-releasing games. Like I did
Nintendo.
a while back when I covered a little bit of Street Fighter 2. I mean, how many times did Street Fighter 2 come out? I mean, it's just
Street Fighter
insane.
2, Street Fighter 2 Hyper, Street Fighter 2 Ultra, Street Fighter 2. Why am I making more Street Fighters? But buy it anyways.
And people did.
Yeah,
Everybody kept buying these games.
That seems a little excessive.
It is
Capcom.
very excessive. But Capcom
They like the
infamous.
money.
Oh yeah. But they kept for a long time. They kept going with the Mega Man franchise. I
like their anniversary collection. Like they have a lot of good they have like a lot of good extra stuff. Like they have artwork, they have music, they have so much extra stuff to unlock. Whereas unlike, did you get I'm sure you got the 3D All-Stars, Matcave. Did you get the 3D All-Stars from Nintendo? You know what they had on there? Besides the music tracks, nothing.
Yeah, it was it. It was just the music tracks, and which was kind of disappointing because they had so much opportunity with a collection like that. The Mega Man stuff had a lot of things in there, and then the Atari collection that we were just talking about earlier has tons of content in there. But even take recently the Ninja Turtles games, the Cowabunga collection. Had a bunch of cool stuff in there, artwork to look at, music. There was like screenshots from the show and all little things like to go through. Like it's not like, I don't know. It's some people don't like that stuff. Like, oh, it's not gameplay. It's not something in the game or whatever. But I appreciate things like that because it kind of brings me back to when you get these hard copies of these games back in the day. You had the cover art, you had the box, you had the manuals, you had all these things that created an experience. And I love when collections put things like that into it. So if it's just artwork and some music, I'm really happy because I'll play those tracks and remember it, growing up and then looking at all the artwork and concept art, especially the concept art. I love seeing what could have been. That's always fun.
You want to know what's another funny thing, Mega Man wise for me? One of the channels I frequently collaborate with, his name is Prophet of the Dragon. His son has his own channel, DK Chilfang. He is only 16 years old, and he is a major Mega Man whiz. I'm gonna link his channel, but like when I watch him play, and I'm a member of his channel. He's a bigger his channel's bigger than mine. I call him, even though he's 16, I call him my Mega Man hero. Like he is he makes me feel like I'm a noob. Even though I've been playing these games longer than he's been alive, but I feel like a noob because he plays Mega Man Universe, which is like it's not an official game. It's like it's a fan made game, but it's like super duper hard. It's like for Mega Man whiz kids, like who know how to play those games like the back of their hands. So I'm just wanted to shout him out. Dempsey knows what I'm talking about. He was on with me when I did my Mega Man 7 stream because Mega Man 7 is his favorite Mega Man game. He was on with me. We were just talking Mega Man while I was playing Mega Man 7. So check out my Mega Man 7 playthrough, and I'll put DK Chilfang's link in there if it's okay
absolutely.
with Matcave.
By all means, please.
He streams and he talks. He's a teenager.
Nice.
It's so cool to see youngsters enjoying the classics that we grew up with. So that's the one thing. Here's the one thing that I feel is different between the generations before us and the generations after us. We have more in common with the generations after us because of the fact that we grew up with video games, and we like they're noticing stuff that we grew up with and they're enjoying it. Like it's not like when we were kids and we used to look at old movies or old music, maybe not so much. Well, for me it was, but old movies, like no, it's totally different. It's like in a whole nother world, but with games it's different. Like we can connect with the next generation more. And I I don't know. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing, and
Well, that's
I
why
just
it's
hope.
so important to keep retro gaming alive, my friend.
Yeah,
Well, you know what they
because
say, because one day your games will be
Be
retro too.
retro
And speaking of
too.
youngsters, Matt
Ye-
Cave, what do you play any of these older retro games with your kids, and what do they think about them?
Yes, my kids have been getting into the older games. My son is psyched that we just recently replaced the original PS1. We haven't had one for a very long time, and I
Nice.
just got a working one. We got a pair of memory cards in there, and he's actually getting ready to begin his journey through Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And I am
Cool.
psyched to see him go through this. But they love playing a lot of the co-op stuff. The Ninja Turtles games, absolutely. They love playing those together. Super Mario games, of course. My daughter, who is 5 years old, is awesome at Sonic the Hedgehog. So
That's awesome.
I'm a proud father. I really am. It's like
I was a little while ago playing through the original Lego Star Wars with my wife because she never played that.
Mm.
And that was just a major part of my childhood, the Lego Star Wars, the video game.
Yeah.
And I actually played through, because that game deals with episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. And I actually played through that game before I had even watched the prequels. So when I did finally get to watch the prequels, I already knew all the storyline and all the settings and everything, and it all kind of made sense. But it's interesting introducing a new player to the things that we grew up with and that have been a part of our lives for so long, and kind of getting to relive it vicariously through them for the first time again. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. Absolutely. And speaking of fun things, guys, it is time for giveaway round 2.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Boy.
All right, guys. If anyone has joined late and didn't hear how round 1 went, I'll cover it real quick. We're going to put a keyword out there that you guys are going to put into the chat exactly the way you see it when I bring it up on screen. And you guys are going to have a chance to win your choice of 3 games. So I'm going to put the word up so that we can get this going for you guys here.
Hopefully your Nightbot works better than mine does.
Yeah. Well, we're actually using the StreamYard giveaway tool.
Oh, they have a built-in giveaway?
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. So everybody in chat and everybody on the panel as well, go into the live chat and put the word Sonic exactly the way you see it. All capital letters. Sonic.
Oh, I can't chat. Hold on. I'm going to have to leave and then come back.
All right, do your thing. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. And while he's heading out there, we're going to cover what games are in the running again for anyone who might have joined late. Let me bring that back up here again. See, I'm not as fast with StreamYard as I am with the other stuff, but it's all good. Where is my screen? There it is. Okay. Got it. All right. So the possible winners of this game, and let's bring coffee back in here. All right. So everyone, while they're putting the word Sonic into the chat, you guys have a chance to win one of the games of your choice, and it will either be Sonic Origins, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, or Atari's 50th Anniversary Celebration Collection.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. All right, let me bring back the giveaway tool here. Whoop, that's the wrong button that I just hit there. Wouldn't that be just great if all of a sudden I just accidentally ended the stream? All right, guys, the word is Sonic. Put it into the chat for your chance at winning the game. We've got 8 entries in there right now. I think that's got pretty much the chat right now covered. X-Wing, if you're still out there, I don't know if you're in there. I don't know if you put it into the chat. I don't see you, buddy. But we're going to give it a couple more seconds here to give him a chance. Ted is in there now. We've got 9 entries. Oh, man. We'll give it a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's roll this.
Drum roll.
Who's it gonna be? I gotta get a sound effect to go with this. The winner is Nova Vaughn. What's up?
Congrats.
Dude?
Awesome.
Congrats, my friend. Congrats. Dude, hit me up in Discord. Let me know what you want, and we're going to get that over to you, buddy. Awesome. Dude. That's so cool. See what happens? X-Wing left us. He missed the giveaway. But we got one more giveaway coming up right after our final topic that we're going to cover. And this is actually a topic that I've been really looking forward to because there's a lot involved with this topic nowadays. You never would have thought, but we're going to be talking about video game based movies. And there are quite a few that we could talk about. We all know that coming real soon, I think it's this April, we have the Super Mario Brothers movie coming that I'm very excited
So am I.
I am psyched for that movie. But I do have to mention, for anyone that may not know, this is not the first outing for Mario in a movie.
Nope, it's not.
It is not. It's definitely
I've heard
not.
stories.
Everything you have heard is true,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Now,
You know what's even funnier is I was 8 when Super Mario Brothers came out
Mhm.
in the theater, and I'm watching. My dad took me, and I am watching it, and I was confused. I'm like, this is what I'm like. I'm like trying to take this in. I'm like, what is this? Like, those are Goombas?
Oh my, the Goombas. So it's funny because just about a week ago, I rewatched this movie with my family. My kids got to experience the original Super Mario Brothers movie, which was live action. It came out in the early 90s, and it's an interesting film. Now, I will say that my kids overall enjoyed it. Especially my daughter. She's 5. She was just kind of like, this is just fun to look at and all that. My son questioned a few things, but overall did like it. Ted's Nerd World says this was child abuse. In a way, it probably was. Even my wife sat down to watch it. She had never seen it and just kind of looked at me like, what even was that? I don't know what that was. Hawks Holocrons, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream, my friend. Stick around for the final giveaway. But this was not Mario's first outing in film. And at the time when that movie came out, we had Super Mario World as part of the games. So we had characters like Yoshi and things like that. The games had evolved and we had an established world and somewhat of a story, whatever you could put together out of these 8-bit and 16-bit games. Along with that, we had the cartoon like Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was half live action, half animated. And we had the Super Mario Brothers, I don't know if the Super Mario Brothers 3 adventures had come out yet, but
the 3 and World were already those cartoons were already out.
So we had a pretty well established look and a world, and then this movie comes out and it's very industrial looking. It's in a warped version of what could have been New York City.
It's basically Blade Runner.
It's like Blade Runner mashed into Mario Brothers. And then we have King Koopa, Bowser, played by Dennis Hopper, in a human form.
Plumbers. You know, in the early 90s, if he wasn't a villain, he was like totally up for a hire. Like he was a bad guy in every movie in the early 90s. Dennis Hopper.
Yes,
you name
Dennis
the movie,
Hopper.
he was in it. Like he was in everything. He must have been through a major divorce to have to be in all these movies.
My favorite villain he played was in his role in Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Yes, he was.
So great.
He was a bad guy in Speed. He was a bad guy in Blue Velvet. Gee, he's a bad guy in everything.
So you have this iconic actor taking on an iconic role. but this was unlike what anyone would have expected. And I saw this movie in theaters and came out of that like I was a kid. You know, I enjoyed it. I still
I
have,
did too. It was different. I was just like, this is not the same, but I still got something out of it. It felt weird though. It just felt weird.
It seemed very
different.
strange. And
Yeah.
one of the things too, it was very strange. Coffee, did you ever see this movie?
No, I have not. It's kind of on my list of things I might eventually want to check out just because of the like culture surrounding it. But every clip I've seen of it is just like, wait a minute.
I don't know. Do I sense a watch party coming up?
Well,
Coffee, I think so.
Coffee, I have I have a couple words of advice for you. Trust the fungus.
Trust the fungus.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that at all.
Trust the fungus.
Trust the fungus, dude. You'll know what we mean. But like, I have to. Matcave, I have to ask you a question. Do you think possibly that the idea of the slip and slide stages in Mario 64, because this movie came out before Mario 64, do you think when they go down the pipe, and they're on a slide, they're sliding on like a mattress? I'm not joking. They are going down a slide on a mattress, being chased by Goombas. There's a chase on a slide. Do you think that slide idea came from the live action? Do you think there might? Do you think Miyamoto was watching it just like, you know, because like they thought the whole thing was funny, like the Nintendo, like Miyamoto and them, they're like,
you know, I never would have thought that until you've just now put that into my brain, and it will never leave. I can't believe you've done this. Well, at least it was done well in Mario 64.
It was. But and then what did they do to knock the Goombas off? They find there's a little pipe hole, a mini pipe hole, and they put a wrench in, and that single wrench somehow trips these big Goombas. Like, these are not little Goombas. These are big hulking Goombas with tiny heads. That's tiny what they look like. Big guys with trench coats. Like they look like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 with like tiny little heads. Like the elevator, like they're like Luigi, played by John Leguizamo. By the way, John Leguizamo is so salty that people are excited for this Mario movie. You know, I don't know why. Like he's jealous. I feel like he should be excited. And you know what? Say what you will about the original movie, John Leguizamo was great in it. Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing I think he should have had was a mustache. But then again, you know, true, he didn't. I was a kid when I. But yeah, that's the thing. We didn't know any better, and it was just like we were just excited to see these characters in live action. So we're just absorbing it and having a good time. It wasn't until we were older that we look back on it like, what was that? What did we just go through? And Mario was played by Bob Hoskins, and I mean, the only movie I knew Bob Hoskins at the time, Bob Hoskins was in at the time, even as an 8-year-old, I knew he was Eddie in Roger Rabbit. Yep. So, and what's funny was he had no idea. I read about this. He had no idea what Mario was, and he was like, he wasn't gonna like try out. And his kids who did know who Mario was, they're like, "Dad, you have to do this." And he did, and he regretted it. It was like, this is like he said, this is literally the worst production I've ever done. Like this was done by a husband and wife directing team, and it was a complete crap show. It's a mess. The behind the scenes for that film is an utter mess, and that's why it, for the most part, failed. The vision was very skewed. Did it fail in the box office? Yeah, it failed pretty badly. I guess it did. Yeah, and it was it's one of the biggest reasons why we have not seen Nintendo characters in any other form for the longest time, because Nintendo became even more protective of their characters than before. So for all these years, how we've all fans of Nintendo have been begging and asking, and even have been teased about along the way, of having a live action Legend of Zelda. We're probably not going to get anything of that unless this upcoming Super Mario movie is a success. And it seems like it will be.
I think it will be.
It will
too.
easily.
Yeah,
This
I
will
think
be.
Illumination is going to do a fantastic job with this. They already have a great history with things like Despicable Me and the Minions and things like that. Their animation style is very recognizable. They have great sense of humor, and I think it's going to fit well in this world.
Seeing what they incorporated in the latest trailer, like seeing the, I call myself Nerporeal for a reason. Like I saw the purple or pinkish
I just saw your
steel
name.
frame in the movie. I was like, that's Donkey Kong. That's Donkey Kong, and he's fighting Donkey Kong. I was like, like that. And seeing him going on the platforming, like, and just it brought, because Mario is one of the oldest things I'm a fan of. Like, it predates Star Wars, it predates Star Trek, it predates even Legend of Zelda. Well, right before Legend of Zelda. It's one of the earliest things I like. So it's probably one of the most emotional things that I'll probably like till the day I die.
Yeah.
And seeing that trailer just brought some tears to my eye.
I'm with you. I'm
so
100% with you.
It was just like, it just really, really just hit that nostalgia like crazy for me. And I wanna support it. It looks like it's made for both kids and adults. And that's a thing. That's a thing that's really hard to do for modern writers. They either make things too adult or they make things too child friendly. And the reason why the 80s was considered the best decade for making movies, and even the late 70s, that's why Star Wars is timeless, is because adults and children can enjoy it for different reasons. It has everything. And I think this Super Mario movie is going to be just like that. It's going to have everything. It's going to have stuff for adults, for people our age who grew up with it. It's going to have stuff for little kids. It's going to have stuff for even probably this long-suffering parents who are long-suffering parents who would tell us, if you've ever seen 8-Bit Christmas,
I love
you're gonna like how the joke in Christmas Story is you're gonna shoot your eye out, kid. Well, in that movie is you're gonna rot your brain, kid. I never realized that, but I think it's gonna have everything.
Yeah.
So with this Super Mario Brothers movie, what are the redeeming qualities of that? Because I'm kind of wondering if I should check it out or not.
The original?
Yeah, the old one.
It's going to be redeeming. You got great acting from Bob Hoskins.
John Leguizamo's fun.
John Leguizamo's fun.
Dennis Hopper always as a villain is beyond entertaining.
He is just a human with spiky hair. That's what makes him Koopa. He instead of Bowser's castle, which is where Bowser lives, he has a high rise. But inside the high rise, the sets in the high rise look like the inside of Bowser's castle from the games to a degree. So it's not bad, but the thing is, like, you're basically instead of you're in the Mushroom Kingdom, you're in Dino Hatton.
Yeah.
Just watch it for the cheese.
You know what I will say?
It's not meant to be taken seriously at all.
Gotcha.
There's somebody in it though. Andor's mother.
Marva
is
in brick form.
No, she's live action. She gets,
I forget her actress's name.
Technically, she does become brick form by the end.
Oh boy.
Yeah, she plays Koopa's attendant or something, or secretary.
So it seems like the way to approach that movie is imagine if the whole Mario Brothers universe was written by someone else in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
An alternate universe after watching Blade Runner.
With zero involvement from Nintendo. Like they saw it and they were just like, whatever. They're just like whatever. They were at a meeting. They were Japanese. They probably didn't even understand what was said during the meeting, and they were like, whatever. Just do it. Do it.
That movie, honestly, it could have single-handedly killed the possibility of having future video game based movies. But just a couple of years later, in 1995, a video game based movie was released that blew my mind, changed my life, and I will forever love this movie. It was Mortal Kombat.
Finish him.
When
I've never seen. I don't think I've seen that one actually.
Oh, dude, it is okay. I mean, I'll set the scene. I sit down in the movie theater. It was in our local mall. The lights go down. The screen comes up. It was done by New Line Cinemas. The first thing you hear is that iconic scream, Mortal Kombat! And the screen fills with fire. And the logo from Mortal Kombat is moving around, and you're getting closer to it with explosions. Meanwhile, the guy's still yelling, Mortal Kombat! With Techno Syndrome playing in all the speakers surrounding you. Right off the bat, I was completely invested. I was like, this movie is going to be incredible, and it did not disappoint. Now, by today's standards, it's definitely a bit of a cheesy movie, but it definitely holds up. Just like Solid Snake says here, it does hold up. This was done by Paul Anderson, who did the Resident Evil films with Mila Jovovich, his wife.
Saw the first two. I only saw the first two of those.
His vision of doing Mortal Kombat, I think this was the complete opposite of what the Super Mario Brothers movie did. What they did with Mortal Kombat was, let's make the game in live action. All of your favorite characters from the games up to that point were represented. We even had Goro done in this amazing animatronic suit. This guy wore a suit that I forget how much they said it weighed, but this thing weighed a ton. 4 arms, moving, it was just gorgeous. There were some CG moments, very early CG, and it's pretty crappy, I'm not gonna lie. When you see Reptile, it's like, wow, okay, that does not hold up. But the movie itself is incredibly entertaining. The actors are great, and the fight scenes are phenomenal. That's a movie I go back to often. And
I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yes, the 1995 Mortal Kombat. Yeah, dude.
It definitely seems like the right way to go about doing that sort of an adaptation, where the respect for what came before is, front and center as on the priority list when they're making that. That goes to, applicable to Star Wars as well. When you keep the legacy characters, you keep the respect of those characters and the story, and so people know what they're getting. So it definitely seems like that kind of respected the source material a lot more than the Super Mario Brothers movie did.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Did you ever see? I think the year before, I think they came out with a movie adaptation of Street Fighter. And that was the last. I think that was the very last movie that Raul Julia was in. He
died shortly after. He played M. Bison.
Yeah. If you don't know Raul Julia, he played Gomez in the 2 Addams Family films.
Yep. Which actually, I just showed my wife the first Addams Family film for the first time because we were just watching Wednesday and she was loving it. So I was like, well, you got to see these movies. So
yeah, like whenever I think Wednesday, I always think Christina Ricci, and of course Uncle Fester. I always think Christopher Lloyd and Morticia. Like I don't even think of the 60s actors. I always think of
I think of the movies.
Think of the movies.
And Raul Julia as M. Bison in the Street Fighter film, which is actually a great segue into that one, going from Mortal Kombat to Street Fighter, 2 competing game franchises in the same genre, in the fighting genre. We had Jean-Claude Van Damme in the movie, which was a very interesting choice because he played Guile, who's this all-American soldier with a very thick French accent. So it's a little weird, but it's Van Damme, so it's entertaining anyway. Personally, I think the Street Fighter movie,
it was panned.
It's ridiculous, but I'll still go back and watch it because it's one of those movies, to me, it's so bad it's good. Like you're more entertained by how bad it is. Mortal Kombat was handled more seriously.
Okay.
It was like with the Street Fighter movie, they almost went, well, they did. They went too far with the let's make it the game. Like, because there's sound effects and things, like it kind of jumps the shark. It's like, it's really weird. Mortal Kombat, though, was handled with a lot more care, at least in my opinion. It's handled more seriously. Though that said, like any successful movie from the 90s on, if the first one is successful, we gotta make a second one. And in classic 90s fashion, the sequels tended to be not so great. And Mortal Kombat Annihilation is one of the biggest abominations on the face of the earth.
Ooh, maybe I gotta check it out.
Did that come out in the theater, or was that straight to video?
It did, but it might as well have been straight to VHS. It was Mortal Kombat Annihilation they decided to go full tilt into using CG animation, and they did not have a budget for it. The script was so bad that most of the actors from the first film did not return to reprise their role. So all of a sudden you have the same character, because it literally picks up where the first one left off. And now there's different actors.
Yeah. Kind of breaks the immersion right there.
Yep. And Chillin, absolutely. I forget his name. I always forget his name. He's a great actor that played Shang Tsung, and he actually reprised his role of Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 11 in the games, and they put his likeness and everything. It was great.
Well, I love talking this with you guys. I just love spending time with you guys. But I got to take off.
All right,
yeah, again, just congrats on 500. That's super cool, and I really do believe that you're deserving of way more than that. I know you'll get there, but just the time that we get to talk to each other and interact with the people in the comments and in Discord, that's worth way more than the number of subscribers.
100%.
So, whether we all end up with 1 million subscribers or not, it doesn't really matter, just because this community is worth it. So congrats on that, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody in chat,
if he gets to 1 million, he's gonna start ghosting us. Just like
yeah, of course, and as he should.
just kidding. We love you. We love you, Coffee.
Absolutely. Coffee on Korriban, everybody. If you're not subbed, go check him out. If you love Star Wars, if you love coffee, if you love coffee mugs, he's got a great mug collection.
If you love mustaches, definitely.
Mustache. The mustache is a must see. We didn't get to see him in live action, here on the stream.
Stash Rendar is nothing.
Oh yeah, Stash Rendar's got nothing on that mustache. But yeah, if any of the mods are still in the chat, if somebody could put a link to Coffee on Korriban, I'd appreciate it. So yeah, the idea of putting movies out there that are based on video games was hit or miss, and there were a lot of misses, but when it was good, it was really good. And Mortal Kombat was one of those films that definitely set a high bar. And then over the years, we've had some other game franchises make their way into film. We've had things like Blood Rain. We've had Resident Evil. We've had a lot of horror things make their way into film. Silent Hill is another one that made it into film, because I feel like the horror genre was the easier one to move from one medium to the other, because it's horror, you make a scary movie, it's going to be like the game. But with any change from one medium to another, you have to expect changes in characters, story, things like that for it to function. You can't have a game story completely work in a film, because games are meant to be long and a much more in-depth experience. Very similar to having a novel versus the film. It's going to be shorter. There's certain things you have to take out or maybe alter. And games get changed in film dramatically, which is understandable. So when we have newer things coming out, like the Sonic the Hedgehog film, right? I didn't know what to expect with that.
Neither
I
did
mean,
I.
well, especially initially, I think we all recall the first teaser for Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. And I remember the poster where it was just his silhouette, but there was something odd about that silhouette. It was limbs were a little too long and things seemed a little too human-like.
Yep.
And then that teaser came out.
Ugly Sonic.
Ugly Sonic. They're pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That teaser trailer was scarier than any Resident Evil movie ever made.
I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was just like, what the heck is this?
Mm-hmm.
But
absolutely. Oh,
but
before I
unlike-
forget, though, I will be touching on this momentarily.
Oh yeah, they came out with that already.
There
right?
was.
It's been a while.
Mhm.
Michael Fassbender.
Yep.
But one thing that the Sonic movie did recently that a lot of other studios have not been doing, like the Sonic movie actually listened to fan feedback, and they actually took ownership of the issue and decided to correct it.
Yep.
Now, I wasn't sure the Sonic movie was going to be any good, but you know what? Because they did that, because they were good to the fans, because they talked to the fans, and the fact that they respected what the fans' wishes were, and that the fact that they were willing to put some additional time and some additional money, because of that, I wasn't sure it was going to be good. I went to the theater and I supported it.
Yeah.
And plus, I like Sonic anyways. And you know what? Was it a great movie? It was okay, but I was glad I supported it. I'm glad I went to the theater. I liked what I saw, and I'm glad I supported it. And you know, that's why I went and saw Sonic 2. Well, not the Sonic 2. There's only one Sonic 2. The Sonic movie 2.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go see Sonic the movie 3 because there's only one Sonic 3, and it's got Knuckles.
Well, that's, you know, we wouldn't have gotten the sequel to the film if it wasn't for that change that the filmmakers did to it, and hearing the voices of the fans. And don't get me wrong, there were plenty of fans that said some awful things to these filmmakers, but for the most part, the feedback that fans were giving these filmmakers was done in a positive way, because what we truly wanted as fans was for them to respect the source material and to respect the character. Correct. And once they realized, okay, there truly is, people truly care about this character, and if we alter our vision and make this work, it can be successful. And like you said, because of that, you went and supported it. That was a huge reason why I was like, I have to support this movie.
Yeah,
this is huge. And I think a lot of people who weren't going to see this movie ended up seeing it because of that change.
Yeah, I mean, it just I just want, I mean, out of just sheer principle, you know, there's a lot of Hollywood people that think that they're, and this is an old issue. This is an old issue that's been around for decades, ever since Hollywood formed itself. But there's a lot of toxic people in Hollywood, and they don't like to take responsibility. They think they think they know better than other people, instead of, you know, just being silent and listening. Now, you don't have to listen to everybody, but the reason why fans say what they say is not out of hatred. It's out of the fact that this property means a lot to them.
Yeah.
That's so when you see people angry on, you know, line, it's not because they do it just for the sake of hating it. They do it because they a lot of the times, the majority of the time, they do it because they are so disappointed, and they love what they grew up with the franchise. Like, they're bringing things back just to, you know, tickle our nostalgia. Well, you're gonna expect backlash if you screw it up. So you have to consider what the fans are saying. If you're making a mistake, you better pay attention, because the fans know more than the filmmakers. I'm sorry, the fans are going to know way more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I applaud them for even hearing out the feedback. Yeah. And then, you know, inevitably what happened was the movie was delayed.
Yes.
But everyone was happy about that. They're like, good.
Yeah.
Take your time. We'll see you on release day. And it ended up being very successful. I very much enjoyed that Sonic film. And then when the second film came out, sticking with that design and everything, I actually like the second one more than the first one. For another reason, which will always be nostalgic to me at this point, was that was the first movie I brought my daughter to in a theater. So that was her first theater experience with Sonic 2. And she loved it. She had a blast. So I'll always have a special place in my heart for that film specifically. But I also thought it was a great movie. It was so much fun. We had we had Sonic, and then we had Tails, who got teased at the end of the first one,
and then we got Knuckles.
Knuckles,
yeah,
which was fantastic.
I was surprised. Like I was like Idris Elba of all people, and then I was like, you know what? I can dig Idris Elba as Knuckles.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said it. I said, tickling, tickling that, where the nostalgia tickle.
But here was the thing: the biggest surprise of all for me was Jim Carrey as Robotnik. Yes,
I was just like thinking, Jim Carrey just being Jim Carrey? But it's weird, is it works somehow. Yes. It somehow works. Like, he's not the evil, maniacal, Robotnik from Sad AM. Brian Cummings, not Brian Cummings. Jim Cummings is Robotnik. Dempsey. Dempsey always takes everything I say out of context. So I didn't drink today. So. But Jim Carrey's Robotnik was just like, I like it. And I hope he comes back. I heard rumors that he's not going to come back after 2.
From what I understood, he's retired now. But I feel like here's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to have a little bit of him in the third one. In fact, I'm willing to bet he already filmed it. So because I think the idea is to move into the next direction of having alternate villains, which the Sonic franchise did have. We're going to have a very big one in the form of Shadow. And
it seems like they're driving right into Sonic Adventure 2 territory. I was curious if you think they might go a little bit into Sonic Adventure 1 with, Chaos.
Well, they could potentially. I wonder if they could even mix it, because Shadow is one of those characters where he sort of becomes an anti-hero and things like he's kind of on both sides. I mean, imagine Sonic and Shadow teaming up against Chaos. Like, that could be epic on film.
Oh, that would most certainly. I mean, they team up in the Sonic Adventure 2 against the ultimate life form, which you'd think for the longest time the ultimate life form is Shadow. I still believe it though.
Nice.
I mean, who's cooler than Shadow?
Shadow was pretty cool.
His theme music at Sonic Adventure 2.
Boom. You know what? Shadow had his own standalone game. Well done.
He killed people in that game. He had a gun. He had a gun. There's one cutscene. There's one evil ending where he's silent. He's not silenced. He executes Robotnik.
Yeah.
My friend showed me. I was like, "What the?"
I guarantee you, there's some people watching this now and maybe in the replay are like, "What the heck are you talking about?" No, go look for the Shadow game.
Yeah. A game. I think it was on GameCube. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I probably should play that just for the fun.
Yeah, I actually got to get a cop. I got to get my hands on a copy of that. That was another game that all I ever did was rent.
So hard to find now. Like, it's a miracle. Like, there's one Mario game I still have not played, and it's Paper Mario Behind the 1,000-Year Door. And a lot of people say it's the best RPG, which I doubt, because Super Mario RPG is the go in my opinion. But that's just me. That's me and my nostalgia. But I can't find that game, and I don't even know if you could find Shadow the Hedgehog now.
It'll be hard to find, but I'm hoping to land a copy of something like that, along with some other things. Slightly off topic, but a cool thing that we're gonna have coming up here on the channel that I'm really excited for, which is something I can actually make requests through for games like that, hard to get games. I signed up recently for a service that is called Video Games Monthly, and the first box is coming at the beginning of January. Where I'm going to be receiving every month a box of retro games. And the possibility of what games it will be in there range from the Atari 2600 all the way to PS4.
Oh,
yeah. So we're going to have some fun unboxings. and those unboxings are going to lead to what the next live stream will be, is what we play. So I'm really excited about it. But one of the games I'm going to request, because they do take requests via email, is the Shadow game. And if I can get my hands on a copy, we'll 100% be playing it.
So what is this that you signed up for again?
Video Games Monthly.
Video Games Monthly.
You choose like a box size of how many games you want in there. And it's I heard good things about it. I saw another streamer who used to do it a couple of years ago, and I've heard nothing but good things. I've already had really good communication back and forth with the company. So I'm psyched. I'm really excited for the first box. I can't wait.
So which one are you doing? The 3 games?
I did the 4 games.
Oh, the 4 games.
Yeah, I figured if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go for it. Not all the way, because there's a box where you can get 10 games. But
and so this is like a completely random, like
random games. But what you do is on the site, you put in what systems you have, so they send you games you can actually play, and then there's the library to fill out, and that's the longest part. Is you enter in what games you already have, so that they don't send you duplicates.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Unless you want duplicates.
But they're not going to send you like some completely crappy like game like Bible Adventures from Nintendo NES.
It's possible. There's some stuff you could, yeah, it's possible. But the thing they steer away from, unless it's specifically requested, are the yearly sports games.
Oh.
Except for certain standout ones like NFL 2K1, something like that, like classic ones that everybody goes back to. But yeah, they seem like they really handle this stuff well, and I'm really psyched for the first one. But I know it was off topic, but I'm really excited about that. And speaking of games like Shadow and the hard to get ones, this is a way to try to get your hands on some games without really breaking the bank. So I'll let you know how it goes. I'll let everybody know how it goes, because it's going to be really cool. But I'll be doing live unboxings, so I'm not going to know what's in this box until you guys all know with me. So it'll be pretty fun. But yeah, so the world of video games moving into movies is definitely, it became much bigger, especially with the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, even the success of the Resident Evil films. Say what you will about those movies, but those movies made money. No matter how bad they got in the sequels, they kept making money. I
just hope with the modern trends that they can kind of reverse that, because they made a new Resident Evil movie on Netflix and it was awful. Like, I heard nothing but
Welcome to Raccoon
City. Yeah.
Oh god, it was, and I watched it multiple times, and I probably still watch it again in the future because I just love that franchise.
Yeah.
But it was very poorly handled. There's ways to completely ruin these things. What I will say about that movie is it had the look. It looked like Resident Evil. It looked like they took RE2 remake and just boom, filmed it. Like, but
so they recreated like the police station,
and every
the mansion.
All the actual visuals were great. What they did to the characters was awful.
Yeah.
Like, they turned Leon Kennedy into just a douchebag. Like, he just sucks.
I know what they did to Leon. He doesn't look anything. I'll just say this. He doesn't look anything like Leon.
No.
Leon is a signature look.
Yeah. He has a signature look. They didn't go for it. Nope. Wesker, I don't know. It's like they didn't even bother to play the game or hear what his story was, because he was not Wesker. You know who was closer to being Wesker than the guy in the movie? Was the one that did the Netflix series. The guy from oh god, what's his name?
Was he the actor that was in
he was in Fringe, and he was in
John Wick.
John Wick.
He's the hotel guy.
You take a character who's white, blonde hair, blue eyes on purpose because of the character
sunglasses.
He's playing, and the sunglasses.
He has to wear his sunglasses.
Yeah. And they cast a black actor, which, by the way, he's a fantastic actor, and he was the best part of that Netflix series.
Yeah.
Because he acted like Wesker. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. And I'm a huge...
Did he wear sunglasses at least?
At a point, he did.
Good.
I'm I am a diehard since day one Resident Evil fan, and I fully accepted him after seeing his performance. I was like, okay, I got it, because the guy they got that looked like the character sucked. It was like, well, all right, I'd rather have a good performance over the look. And unfortunately, that Lance Reddick, thank you, Alan, I appreciate that. He was phenomenal, and unfortunately, that series was canceled, so we will not get a season 2, even though season 1 left off on a cliffhanger. It got destroyed by fans. Basically, it was, people just weren't accepting it because it did something different. But it was actually what I wanted. I wanted different. So what this series did, unlike prior attempts and movies and shows and things like that, what they do with a lot of video games, they try to tell the story that already existed. What this Netflix series did was they're going to say, okay, everything that happened in the games happened. Now we're going to tell what happens next. And I was like, great, something new, and we're going to move forward. And they do some great references back to the story, which I think was very important. But I guess, I don't know, majority audiences weren't quite ready for that.
I heard there was a lot of teen drama stuff in this show too.
It might have been
like
very
CW, like stuff that fans don't want to see. Like they want to see action, they want to see story, they want to see build up and payoff. They want to see, they want to see the characters too.
It wasn't as much as it's made out to be, but there definitely is that little bit of a CW level.
I can't speak for it. I did not see this. This is just based on just seeing the trailer, so I can't really comment further.
I personally think it's worth a watch.
Okay.
But because when it's good, it's really good.
Okay.
But then it's down moments.
Yeah.
That said, though, it was an interesting attempt of evolving this game into another medium and doing it in a series form rather than a movie. The failure of Welcome to Raccoon City did not help this show's chances at all.
No.
Spidey the Librarian, we're talking about the Resident Evil series on Netflix, the one that got canceled.
Yeah.
But even though it was canceled, I think it's worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of Resident Evil. I think anything that you're a fan of, if there's another form of it brought to the world, give it a chance. That's essentially what these things are made for. I'm sure there was plenty of Sonic fans that were like, I don't know about this movie. And anyone that gave it a chance, I think for the most part ended up having a good time. I think there's plenty of people that are very nervous and cautious about the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie. Yeah. I don't blame them, but I think everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised by that film.
I think so. If it's a trailer, I mean, there are times where trailers have been good and I got totally fooled, but a lot of the times, trailers are not as good and movies are pleasantly surprising. The thing is, I want to be surprised. I don't set off to hate things. I want to like things. And I mean, it's really up to the filmmakers to put together a story that is liked by adults and children alike. That's it.
Yeah. And here's an interesting point. So here's something that this definitely made a lot of the news and people made videos about it. And this is what everyone was talking about, right? The change in the voice. Personally, I have no issue with the change in voice of Mario. And here's why. In my lifetime, I have had over a dozen Mario voices.
Yes, you have.
And I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to get used to Charles Martinet's voice because I was 96 when 64 came out. That was his first game. I think I was sixth grade, so I was becoming adolescent at that point. But before that, Mario did not have a voice in the games, and the only thing we heard, and I'll let Matcave take it forward.
Oh, Captain Lou Albano. In the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Do the Marios, do the Mario. From side to side. Dude, that deep, gritty voice was Mario for me for years.
Yeah.
Years. And don't get me wrong, I love Charles Martinet as his version of Mario. It's iconic,
Yeah.
and he has been the
Ever since.
longest running voice for the character. So
Yeah.
if anyone deserves to be wearing the crown of this voice, it's him, 100%. But
He is involved. He is involved in the movie. I'm
Yeah.
not sure who he's going to be voicing. If he's just going to be doing like random, voices of like maybe Koopa Troopas or I don't know. I'm curious what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, I think I'm sure whatever it is we're gonna notice, like we'll recognize that tone in his voice. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to like kind of like finding his character. I don't know how obvious they're gonna make it, but I'm not worried about Chris Pratt voicing him. I enjoy Chris Pratt. I think he's fun. The one I'm mostly looking forward to is actually Jack Black playing Bowser.
Here's the thing. I had when they first announced the Mario trailer, or they first announced the Mario movie and the voice actors, I did not react well. I mean, Jack Black, I didn't have any comment, but when I heard like Keegan Michael Key is playing Toad, I was like, I don't see it. I don't see him as Toad. And then I wasn't sure. Like, I'll be honest, I was very iffy about Chris Pratt playing Mario. Because I was expecting him just to be Star-Lord or to be Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt instead of playing Mario. But I was pleasantly surprised. And like, I'll be honest, like I was actually really happy in the trailer hearing Keegan Michael Key as Toad. Because I'm like, I could buy this.
Yeah.
I can buy this. Like, we heard Toad in the animated show. And he sounds different, but you know what? I can believe it.
Yeah.
Less cringy than the games. Like the games is like they sound like little kids.
Yeah.
It's a picture. If you ever played Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker,
that game's actually pretty fun.
It is fun. It's a great game. It is so different, but it's so awesome. You can't jump. That's the one thing you can't do.
You can't jump. You got to work your way around.
You have to work your way in a
3D model.
environment. It's like almost like a maze. Almost. You have to figure out where to go next.
Yep.
I like that stuff. I like hidden doors or hidden from view stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about Mario. Honestly, like you didn't know around the corner if there was like a secret door to a secret, cave or something where you can get another moon. I mean, I love that game. I love it.
I love searching the worlds. That's
one
of the funnest things.
And the fact that you can take possession of a Tyrannosaurus Rex in that game. I first saw the trailer. I'm like, what? I first saw the trailer for Mario Odyssey. I'm like, what is going on here? And then I played it. I was like, wow, this game is so fun. Like there's like you cannot leave any stone unturned in that game. It is beautiful. And the fact that you can become 8-bit Mario in the walls, in the flat walls, or even in the cylindrical walls and everything is just gorgeous. And it like just beating. I still have not beaten it completely. Like I don't know if you can really. It gets hard after beating the adventure mode.
I think much like these games, I think the new movie is going to have Easter eggs and all kinds of fun stuff for us to find, because that's going to be a movie I know I'm going to be watching multiple times, and I'm going to be checking the background and seeing what's going on with all these side characters. But I think this type of animation is probably going to be the future of video game based movies going forward for a while. I don't know when we'll next see a live action version of some of our favorite characters, but maybe sooner rather than later. I don't know, but maybe we eventually get Link. Maybe he takes a live action form.
I wanted to ask you, Matcave. I have some ideas for what I want to see if they adapt further Nintendo properties. So, for instance, like Zelda, I think Zelda would work perfectly as an anime.
As an anime, yeah.
Yeah. So like something kind of like I have a bunch of anime on top of my shelf there, but something like in the guise of Record of Lodoss War, where you go into a dungeon, you explore, you brave traps as Link, or you watch Link braving traps. Maybe he has friends that come with him, and they fight these big giant monsters. And an episode ends with a giant monster ambushing them in the dungeon. And then, of course, the final episode of the series would be him facing Ganondorf.
Yeah,
something kind of akin to like Castlevania, but I'd rather have the Japanese, have the Japanese anime studio work on it.
Style, yeah.
That's one idea.
Another
idea would be Metroid. It would be a silent. It would be either a silent movie or it'd be a silent series. There'd be like minimal dialogue. Like the only dialogue you would see would be in the beginning of the episode. You see the text, kind of like how Super Metroid begins, where you see you hear the music and you see Samus typing into her star log, and then the rest of it is just her. It's just her. It's kind of like, you ever see Primal? Mm-hmm. Primal's a silent show. Yeah. I like to see Metroid like Primal, a silent show.
That could be cool.
And if she does talk, it'd have to be super duper impactful. It'd have to be a very impactful to the point where something like, let's say they adapted Super Metroid, and the only time you hear her talk, or the only time you hear her make a sound, is when she screams when, spoiler alert, the baby dies.
Oof. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be an epic way to go about that, especially with that character.
And you gotta get, and I want to get the Clone Wars. I want to get the Primal guy. What was his name? Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
Get him.
Oh, dude, that would look great. There's so many possibilities and directions they could go with these characters, because a lot of these stories are timeless, and a lot of these game franchises have been around for decades, and there's so much opportunity to play around in that world. I mean, so many of these games, it's a sandbox. Just play in it and do what you want with it. Have things from different eras come together. It's all gonna work if it's handled with care. And that's the trick with any change from one medium to another, especially video games to movies. You have to care about the story, care about the characters, care about where this all started, because you know what your core fan base is going to be. But at the same time, you have to make it approachable for a new audience. You have to be able to give the world building and explain what's going on here, which is one of the things this new Super Mario movie is going to have to do.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Mario, but not everyone knows the story and what's going on.
I wanted to ask you about that. Now, there's two origins for Mario. There's the Mario Super Show and Mario Movie, 93 Mario movie origin, and then there's the Yoshi's Island origin.
Yeah.
So which one do you think they're going to go with?
I think based on the trailers, I think we're leaning more towards the 90s movie.
Brooklyn.
In the sense that they're from Brooklyn and go into this land.
Because I'll be honest, this was a couple years later. Yoshi's Island comes out, and I'm like, Baby Mario. I'm like, wait a minute, Baby Mario. It seems like Nintendo didn't even pay attention to, like, to the Western, the Western stuff, the Western stuff that was done with the character. But then again, they didn't. They were licensing Mario out to everybody back then. Like, I'll be honest. I don't know if you remember 1993 too well, but I remember a game called Mario's Missing being promoted like hell, even in the Toys R Us catalog. Yeah. I thought it was a real Mario game. It's not. It's an educational game.
Yeah.
I got stuck with an educational game for Christmas one year. That was the only game, because my parents can only afford one video game, and that's usually the only time I get a video game, was either for my birthday if I was lucky, or Christmas. So I got Mario's Missing for Christmas of '93. Now I still managed to get something positive out of that. I still played it, and I did learn something. I did learn a few things from that game. I managed to get second or third place in my geography the following year because of the stuff that I learned from that game.
Go.
But yeah, that game was. I mean, it was still fun to play, but it was not a Mario game. It's just all you do is you still jump, you ride Yoshi, but you're in our world, and the Koopas are stealing artifacts from different landmarks in the world. Like, they steal a piece of the Golden Gate Bridge, they steal a piece of the Sistine Chapel ceiling. I don't know how. Don't ask me. They just do. And you have to go. You have to go into a door, and you're in the city. You're in the city, and they have different remixes, different cultural remixes of the Super Mario World theme in every city. So I think the first city you go to is Rome, and you have to recover the Sistine Chapel piece. and then you have to go and turn it into the place, you know, the Sistine Chapel. And it's a woman in a booth, and she looks like Princess Peach, but she's wearing a regular outfit, like she's like a tour guide. And they're like, well, you have to prove that this is actually the piece that you're talking about, because you know falsehoods and all that. So she quizzes you. So the player gets quizzed. Like, you have to answer 3 questions, and you have to get them correctly. Now it's multiple choice. And the thing is, if you get them wrong, she'll assume you're fake, and then you have to like wait for like you have to go like several frames away and come back in order to be able to do it again. You have to give it some time, but that's how you play. And you have to do this. There's 15 stages. There's 15 cities. There's 3 artifacts each stage. So there's like 45 times 3. That's how many questions are asked in that game.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and then at the end of each, there's a world. There's World 1, World 2, and World 3. After you beat it, then you fight a Koopaling. You have to fight Ludwig in the first one, and all he does is run. He just runs back and forth. You don't get hurt because you're further up. All you gotta do is jump and hit him. That's it. You don't die in the game at all.
Yeah, because it's an educational game.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing was, you played as Luigi. This was before Luigi's Mansion. You play as Luigi. Mario is missing. They call him Mario's missing because he's captured by Bowser. So, but yeah, that's the game. And then there was Mario's Time Machine, and the one that taught me how to type. And the reason why I know how to type now is Mario teaches typing.
It's definitely a franchise that has seen multiple forms. Its latest rendition will be in film, and if it's successful, I think we have a good chance of seeing more of our favorite characters make their way into movies. And I think, let's see, we're about a quarter after the 2-hour mark here.
Yeah.
I think what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up here, but we still have one more giveaway to do. So everybody, it's the final round for the giveaway. I want to make sure everybody gets in there. We are into round 3. Your chance of winning your choice of a copy of the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection, Sonic Origins, or Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. For this round, go ahead and enter the word Mario into the chat, all capitals. Let me get this brought up onto screen so everybody can see it. Exactly as you see it right here, Mario, all capitals, to get you into the running for the final giveaway of the night.
And so that picks up whoever puts it in and right away, and that's how you do it.
Yep. As everybody starts entering, it's going to tally up how many entries are in there. And then once you hit draw, it's going to start to cycle through.
That is sick.
Yeah. It's very easy to use. You open up another tab and bring that up through the StreamYard site. And then it just works this way. And I'm very, very happy with how this has been working tonight. I'm glad that it's actually working. I was really nervous about it, but it's been successful twice already tonight. So the third time's the charm. Let's go for the hat trick. We're going to get another winner. Hey, we might even get a winner that already won, and they get 2 games. All right, everybody. We're going to roll this thing. We're going to get another winner, and then we're going to wrap things up for tonight. We got 11 entries in there. I think we got everybody in there. It looks like everybody's got their...
Somebody put Luigi.
Somebody put Luigi. Well, that's an instant loss. That's awesome. All right, everybody. We're going to roll this thing in 3, 2, 1. Who's it going to be?
Drum roll.
Oh, man. Ted's Nerd World.
Congrats.
Is the winner. Congrats, Ted. Dude, hit me up in Discord. Let me know which game and which platform that you want, good sir.
Boba Fett Mario or Mario? Well, there's only one way to pronounce it, and it's Mario. Come on, you're on Matcave. You know, this is East Coast time. Yeah,
So you want to hear something funny?
When in
So-
Rome.
The other day, I asked my wife. I said, "You know, a thing in my community is the way I say this character's name." So I asked her. I said, "How do you say it?" It's Super Blank Brothers. She said, Mario. I said, "Come on now." She's like, "Why? How do you say it?" I'm like, "It's Mario." She's like,
Mario.
"What? Mario?" I'm like, "I'm not saying Mario." We had a whole we're in the car, we're having a whole back and forth about this. I'm like, "Come on, somebody's got to side with me."
Never change. Keep saying it that way.
I have said it that way my entire life.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my goodness. I just thought it was hilarious that she went that way. Oh, I've totally forgot that I had a poll in the chat. We're going to end the poll and see where this landed. Where did everybody start their gaming journey? 63% of 38 votes started in the 8-bit era.
Yep.
21% in 64-bit, and then we got a tie at 7% each for the 16-bit and 32-bit era. So this looks like what a biggest start in the 8-bit, and then another big run in the 64-bit realm. So pretty cool. But tonight we covered some epic topics tonight. We covered the genre of Metroidvania. We covered the Mega Man franchise, and we talked about video games in movies. Dude, I love nerding out about this stuff and chatting with you, especially about all this stuff, man. I feel like, dude, we're like on the same page with so many of these things, man.
Yeah, I went through, and the other thing is I went through 3 whole names. I went through 3. I identified 3 different things today. I'm like, it's a lot. It is so hard. It's like as hard as working at Starbucks. It's just like, you know, it's tough. It's tough being a nerdporial, you know.
But you do really well with it, man. You take ownership of it.
But this was a great stream. Thank you so much for having me on. Congrats on getting 500. We gotta get you to 1K. We gotta get you monetized. And I honestly want to do more stuff like this. I have not done a whole lot of video game streams myself. Like the only thing I've done video game related wise lately was reactions to the Super Mario trailer, which they're brutal. Like they copyright you like right away, even when you just show images.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like you're getting free publicity. Why not let us do this?
Yeah, you're just being dicks at this point. Seriously.
Yeah. But it's such a fun thing to chat about. And like, I haven't done a whole discussion stream like this in the longest time either. I think the last one I did was with you talking about Captain N, the Game Master.
Yeah.
So it's, it's something I definitely want to do more of. I love using this platform with StreamYard, being able to have guests on and things work out so easy. I'm so happy that giveaway tool worked so flawlessly. I'm very happy about that. And I'm so glad that we had multiple winners tonight. I'm going to reach out to everybody in Discord. We're going to get everybody their copies of their games. And because it's the season of giving. We're in the holiday time.
Yeah.
And then starting next month, we're going to be taking the channel into a little bit of a different direction with things like unboxings. We're going to have a ton more retro gaming. We'll still have the modern stuff. I'm still going to be diving into things like Fortnite and Call of Duties and then especially Jedi Survivor when that comes out and whatever else. We're going to play a whole mix of stuff. But the retro gaming is going to take the priority, especially when those monthly boxes start arriving. But dude, again, thank you so much for coming by tonight. I really appreciate it. We almost hit this 2.5 hour mark at this point. It doesn't even feel like it. It feels like it flew by. I had a blast tonight. I hope everybody else had a good time in chat. Thank you guys all for being here and supporting the channel. Everyone, I love everybody in this community, and I want to give a special thank you to all the recent subscribers that have been helping this channel grow. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I can't wait to get to know everybody better. Hit us up all in the Discord. We got people, having a good time in there. Subscribe to the Nerdporial Lifeform. I think you put your link in the stream there before.
Yeah,
but, If not, drop it in again. But definitely great content creators out here that have been both on the panel and in the chat. Definitely check out their channels. Give them a sub. It's absolutely free. You're going to love the content out there. Such a great mix of things that that you can enjoy. And I'm going to end things off the way I always end things. As always, everybody, remember, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too. Yeah, buddy. See you guys all in the next one.
Stay in Retro first.